guys, this is Shayna from YumiYarns.com, and today I wanted to show you how you can add in a secondary color when you're maybe at a difficult point in your project for changing colors normally and weaving your ends in at the same time as you go. So that's a lot to cover. And this particular technique is helpful if you're like adding in colors for like Intarsia or colorwork projects or things like that. So it's actually pretty handy and would come in more often than you'd think. So we have our new color here, which is this whitish light blue, and we have our previous color here, and that's the one that's connected to this stitch. And I'm going to keep my stitch marker on just because I need it for this pattern. But the next step is to knit into this stitch. This is our color change stitch. So I'm just going to knit normally. You'll see the tail's kind of loose and that's obnoxious, but kind of necessary. So we knit normally, and we take our tail. Make sure you give yourself a good couple inches length just to weave it in and make sure it's secure. And then we're actually just going to wrap it underneath the previous yarn and over. So that previous yarn is kind of locked in there. If you've done Intarsia, you've done something similar. And now we're actually just going to hold it with our working yarn and continue following our pattern, which this one happens to just be knit stitches. And I just knit the two yarns together. For this particular pattern, it's going to end up being a fade, so I'm not too concerned. If you're concerned about that double stitch, I know some people get worried that that's going to cause a lot of bulk. It really won't cause very much bulk at all. But if you're concerned, you can wrap the yarn behind it by doing a knit stitch with your working yarn. Then before you do your knit stitch, you take your tail, wrap it over your needle, wrap your yarn around like you're going to knit, bring the tail off the needle over top of that yarn so it's just laying on top there, and then finish your stitch. It's secured right back there, and then you just knit the next stitch to lock that tail in, and it gets hidden back behind the stitches and caught up in the working yarn. So if you don't want that double bulk, you don't have to. It's just easier, I find, to just hold it together, unless you absolutely have to. But yeah, that's how I added in. And then with this one, I did not break this yarn because I need it for the next row in the pattern. But if you are needing to break the first yarn that you had, that's completely fine. Go ahead and break it and just use that technique that I just showed you where you can weave it along hidden behind the stitches. Yeah, and you'll have a nice looking finish. You won't have any holes where you join the colors. And if you need to, from time to time, you can cinch it up when you get back over here. You just don't want to strangle it too tight, but if you feel like you have a little gap between these two stitches, that's totally fine to just pull it, give it a little tug, and it'll cinch those right up. But yeah, that is how you can add in a secondary color without creating any holes right in the middle of your knitted fabric. I hope you have a great day. Come see me over at YumiYarns.com for patterns and more tutorials. This is the First Impressions shawl, and I'm using yarns from Merino y Vino's Pride and Prejudice surprise box, and they're beautiful and I love them. But if you're interested, that pattern is available if you want to give this one a go. And I'll put the link down in the description. I hope you have a great day and happy knitting. Bye.